What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. And this week I wanted to bring up a topic that I thought would have been helpful for me when I was starting out playing Clash Royale. And I wanted to give you a list of 5 cards that you should probably look out for or focus on leveling if you do happen to like those cards. And the reason I'm doing this is because there's 99 cards within Clash Royale, and I know a lot of people are experimenting and playing around with the cards, and some people, they get used to some cards and they're just like, you know what, I'm just gonna level it, it's not a big deal. And then eventually when they want to push ladder or enter grand challenges or classic challenges, they happen not to perform well, and that can discourage a player because then you used all your resources toward one thing and now you can't go toward another. Now, I'm not saying that you do need to level these cards. I would definitely recommend looking out for these cards if like clanmates are trading them, or with the new Clan Wars 2 update happening where there's going to be a trader. I definitely recommend looking out for these cards just because they are very, very popular on the ladder and within challenges, and they really honestly do perform very well at what they are meant to. So let's go ahead and jump into the cards themselves. Now, to note, I'm going to talk about them being at level 9 just because that is the tournament standard, and I think that is just a easier way to look at things versus going to level 13, because that's just not realistic for a lot of newer players at least. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Alright, so the first unit we're going to talk about is Knight. So Knight is unlocked after the tutorial, so he's going to be a pretty key card once you start playing the game, and that's just because he is a very tanky unit. So he's a level 3 cost elixir unit, and he is the highest HP 3 cost unit in the game at level 9, and he is pretty much going to be a tank. He does have a decent attack speed, so he can take out smaller units or smaller HP units, such as like the army type units, or maybe even stuff like musketeer or wizard. But his main purpose is going to be a more of a supportive role, where you will drop him after one of your enemy units, cross a bridge, and so they're within Princess Tower range, so you can put him down to soak hits from the unit, and then the Princess Tower along with him will take out that unit or any other units you have to help. But being at 3 cost, I think he is honestly a great card. A lot of people talked about how he got replaced by a different card that I'm going to talk about later in the video, but I honestly don't think so. I think you can run those 2 cards in the same deck, and I honestly see it a lot of the time. But this is a very popular card on the ladder and also in grand challenges and classic challenges, and that's just because for the cost of the card, he will take a lot of hits and pretty much stall long enough for you to prevent an enemy from hitting the tower or whatnot. And he also, like I said, does decent damage if he does reach a tower or if he can reach the smaller units. Alright, so the next unit we're going to talk about is the Musketeer. So Musketeer is unlocked alongside the Knight during the tutorial and will cost 4 elixir. So as you can notice right off the bat, her HP is extremely low, and that's just because of a couple of key things. So first of all, she can attack ground and air units, which is very useful when it comes to later on in the game, as air units can be a real pain sometimes. And then also the fact that her attack speed is so quick. So her attack speed is 1.1 and she's doing 181 damage every single attack. And then alongside that, she also has a range of 6. So as long as you place her properly, you pretty much can take out a lot of the units before it even reaches you or the tower. And then also she pairs very well with tanky units. So if you can put like a even like a knight, like we just talked about, in front of her to tank the enemy unit while she sits there and does deep damage. And then even if you guys do that on your side of the field, so you have the Princess Tower plus a musketeer plus a knight, you're going to take out a lot of the units. Alongside that, she does pretty much one-shot a lot of the army ground units, and with the help of the Princess Tower, she one-shots a lot of the airborne army units. But like I said, she pairs very well. She's another pretty much supporting champion, even though I think she can pretty much do a lot of damage to the opposing Princess Tower if she can reach it. But yeah, so alongside with a tank, or even if you put your win condition in front of her, and she can take out maybe units in the air that are, attacking your win condition, that pairs very well. And so overall, I think she's a awesome unit, even though she has a low health pool. As long as you play her correctly and away from other units, I think she is perfectly fine. Right, so the next unit we're going to talk about is Valkyrie. So Valkyrie is unlocked at Arena 2 at 300 trophies, so relatively early in gameplay, but will cost 4 elixir. So this is the unit I was referring to when I talked about Knight. So a lot of people believe that Valkyrie replaced Knight in gameplay just because, in all honesty, she just seems like a better version of Knight. She is the tankiest unit at level 4, and then she also has an attack that does a 360 spin, hitting everyone in the vicinity of the axe swing. So a lot of people compare the two just because, Knight's the highest level 3 HP unit. So for one more elixir, you're paying for the same thing at level 4, but you just have an overall better attack because she can attack multiple things at once. The reason I don't believe this is true, the replacement thing at least, is just because Knight you can kind of send off on his own early game as a scapegoat. So you'll use him to kind of bait out, see what your opponent is playing, and you're really not going to miss much, and he's a pretty tanky unit. So he's going to take a couple hits, which will allow you to kind of recover your elixir and then react to whatever play your opponent does. Now, when it comes to Valkyrie, you want to play her more strategically and reactively. So let's say your opponent, for whatever reason, you drop like a win condition down, and you drop it at the back of the map, so you gain enough elixir, and they drop Skeleton Army alongside Goblin Gang to take out your tank very quickly, and so they're crossing the bridge. So they just spent 6 elixir to take out your tank. You've recovered some elixir. Now you drop Valkyrie in the middle of the pack. Once they cross the bridge, she takes one swing, wipes out their 6 elixir total cost of their units, and now you have a 1600 HP unit walking across the bridge, pretty much undamaged. And so this is where I think, yes, they do very similar things. You can place Valkyrie on your side of the bridge to tank, while your Princess Tower and any other units attack something. But overall, they have different playstyles, and not saying that you can't play Valkyrie just to put her out there, because she will most likely make it to the Princess Tower or do a lot of damage along the way. But I just don't think they're in the same league of being replacing each other. And so yeah, but overall she's a great unit. She's going to be a very key unit against army type decks, which are seeing less play, but you still do see, I believe Skeleton Army is like the most played card on ladder, and so she is like a very easy counter to that. And so yeah, overall great unit. Definitely worth leveling if you do get her, and a decent amount of copies of her. But yeah. Alright, so the next unit we're going to talk about is my favorite of all the units that we are talking about today, and that is Mini Pekka. So Mini Pekka is unlocked during the tutorial and is another 4-cost unit. So the reason I love Mini Pekka is because of how hard he hits. So even though he's a 4-cost unit and does have only 1129 health, he does hit for pretty much 600 HP. Now, this is kind of offset because his attack speed is 1.8, so he is going to take a little bit of time to swing, but when he does swing, he can take out units that are equal to him in elixir cost, things like Archer or Musketeer, or even a Wizard, which is a higher cost unit, he can pretty much just one-shot. He's best combined with things that can kind of soak damage in front of him, so when he gets to whatever target is in front of him, he can just whack it without taking any damage. So things like Giant or Mega Knight, or even, sending a miner over to the tower before making Pekka cross the bridge so he doesn't take tower aggro. These are all key things that he's very good at, because once he is able to hit a tower, he's going to take out that tower extremely quickly. On the defensive side, he is a very good tank killer, just because if he can, hit like a Royal Giant. So let's say Royal Giant gets deployed on your opponent's side of the bridge, and you deploy Pekka after Royal Giant hits your side, or even before, as long as you don't get Pekka to their side of the bridge to get aggro from the tower. The Royal Giant's going to fall over, and especially once it reaches over the bridge where your Princess Tower is helping. So I love that he is really good on both sides of the spectrum of defense and offense. He's an extremely good counter to things like Hog Rider or even Royal Hogs, just because he pretty much like 2 to 3 shots them. If that, he might even just one shot a couple of things, like I said. But overall, just a funny unit. If you've never seen the video for Mini Pekka, I definitely recommend going to look at that, just because it's just extremely funny. But yeah, probably one of my favorite units, and a very, very used unit on the ladder. And just because, like I said, the damage that he puts out, just like Pekka, the 7-cost Pekka, just hits like an absolute tank. Yeah, just extremely overall great hard hitting card, that pretty much has a place in any deck, except those that are very specific, like control decks and stuff like that. But definitely one of the units I think you should level very, very early on, because sometimes if you can sneak a Pekka over to the opposite lane when you know your opponent's elixir is down, you can pretty much sneak in wins this way. So, yep. Overall, great card, and definitely recommend you leveling Mini Pekka first. Alright, so the last unit that we're going to talk about today, I have a love and hate relationship with, and that is Hog Rider. So Hog Rider unlocks at Arena 1 and is a level 4 cost unit, like I think majority of the cards I talked about today. So if you guys don't know, Hog Rider is a building / tower attacking unit only, and is extremely fast. So he is unique in the way that he can hop over the river, so depending on where you want to place him to attack whatever target, he will jump over the river and get to that unit a lot quicker. He is also a very quick unit, and so you can use the mechanic of putting him behind a slower unit, and pushing them. So if you put something like a really slow unit like Giant or Pekka, you can put him behind and then he will push them. He is used in best combination this way just because whatever unit is in front of him will take the aggro from whatever your opponent decides to drop, or whatnot, and he will just continue on his way to whatever building or tower if possible. So that way he doesn't soak the damage and he just gets to do his job. Overall, he is a great win condition card for a low cost, especially at higher levels. He hits like a truck toward buildings and towers, but that is also why he's annoying, because he does hit so hard, and especially if you can play him when you know your opponent doesn't have the elixir to counter him, he will definitely get in a lot of the damage. But overall, I don't think there's much to say about Hog Rider. He's pretty much easily counterable by other buildings, and this is why most deck builders will say to at least include one building in your deck, just because of things like win conditions like Hog Rider or Giant or things that only attack buildings. This way you can kind of bait them over to that building rather than the tower, and it kind of stalls while allowing for other units to hit him along with the Princess Tower. So that's his only weakness, but like any other building slash tower unit, or attacking only unit, um, that's just the way it goes. And honestly, he wouldn't be balanced if he attacked other units, just because he does hit so hard. Now, when it comes to his health pool, he doesn't have the greatest health pool, and so that's more of a balance thing as well. If he did have a high health pool and he made it to the tower, and you didn't have elixir and the tower was the only thing allowing you to hit, um, most likely he's going to take out the tower. So like I said, balance, and that is key. But yeah, overall, not much to say. He's good at what he does, extremely hard hitting, very efficient cost, I think, at level 4. A win condition at level 4 is really good. That means you're not taking up your full elixir cost almost to play your win condition like Pekka or Mega Knight. And he also can be used to take out like siege decks, or yeah, siege decks that use mortar or crossbow, um, or even things that use the spawn type decks like the Goblin Hut or Barbarian Hut. You can use that to make sure that they aren't gaining an elixir advantage overall. So all in all, those are all the cards I wanted to talk about today. I just thought it'd be nice to talk about some of the cards that I think are key at the higher level. And I'm speaking from experience because those are some of the cards that I wish I would have leveled, or at least focused on a little bit more, just because they do perform so well on their own. Like you can kind of just put Musketeer, if you're missing a card that's going to take care of aerials, and stuff like that, and they will do extremely well at the higher level. Right now, I decided to focus on a more unique deck style of what I'm playing, and I'm kind of suffering for it because the deck I'm playing is very easily countered right now. And so now I'm kind of backpedaling into cards that I know will do well at the level I'm at. But yeah, overall, I think this would have been helpful for beginners, and that's why I'm putting that out there. But yeah, let me know if this helped you at all, or if this was, informative for you at all. I'm looking at doing some more, of these types of videos, maybe my top pick for legendaries, or maybe, going into different deck types that people might not really know about, and stuff like that. So let me know in the comments down below. Comments always really help. Please leave a like and subscribe if you really like the video, and you want to see more. I'll be posting probably a lot more Clash Royale videos. I kind of want to focus on this game just because I'm so, I guess, I don't know, dedicated to it more or less. But yeah, so let me know, and I will see you guys in the next video.